Hello clever people, and welcome to my video on my most and least anticipated movies of 2020. So the 2010s are over and we are into an exciting new decade and an exciting new year for film. Now, I'm going to start with my least anticipated and go through the movies I'm not looking very much forward to and talk about at the end of the video my most anticipated. So if you just want to see my most anticipated movies, I will put a timestamp here. Just go to this place in the video and you will find me talking about my most anticipated movies of the year. And for now, I'm going to talk about my least anticipated. Now, least anticipated might seem like a confusing term to you because a lot of people don't do least anticipated lists, because if you're not looking forward to a movie, why go out and see it? It's a valid argument. The reason I like to do least anticipated is because I try to see everything. If I think it looks good, if I think it looks bad, there's something to learn about the filmmaking. So it's important to me to try to see as many different movies as I can. So I always do a least anticipated list. And so far, 2020 isn't looking like too terrible of a year for movies. Usually my least anticipated list has some pretty big stinkers on it, especially because January is the movie where all the bad movies come out. But so far, not too many movies in January are looking too horrible. I mean, they don't look great, like Underwater, like A Boss, Dolittle. They all don't look like great movies. They just don't look as terrible as they could, and they don't look as bad as past Januaries. And just another note, my least anticipated, last year I had What Men Want as my number 4 least anticipated and my Isn't It Romantic as my number 1, and both of those movies I ended up enjoying. I enjoyed What Men Want a lot actually, and Isn't It Romantic was just okay, it was decent. So usually I'm off on this list, but without further ado, I will run quickly through the movies I'm looking forward to the least. First up, we have The Call of the Wild. I'm not looking forward to this movie because it gives me the feelings and impressions that A Dog's Way Home did, my number 2 least favorite movie of the year. Just with the CGI dog and the fact that Harrison Ford looks like he doesn't want to be in this movie, I'm not looking forward to it. Gretel and Hansel is this like new cool horror remake of the story of Hansel and Gretel, and I'm just not for it. I think that the trailers look horrible, and I don't think this is a movie that needed a cool horror version, especially because we get one like every single, like we got one in 2013 or 14 with Hansel and Gretel with Jeremy Evans, and they were killing people and stuff. It just feels unnecessary, and this one to me looks terrible. Unfortunately, Birds of Prey is on this list. I really did not like the look of the trailers. It looked just like a disaster to me, and Suicide Squad was horrible. Nobody's going to dispute that fact. So I'm not looking forward to Birds of Prey. New Mutants is a movie that probably would have been on my most anticipated. I don't know if I put it on there or not, but back in 2018, I think that it possibly was on there or it was a contender because I liked the horror look of it and I liked the way that it looked, and I thought that it could be an exciting new direction for the X-Men universe to go in. But coming out 2 years later, from when it was originally supposed to come out, an entire 2 years, I believe to the date or around the date, I'm not looking forward to it. This movie must have gone through a bunch of different re-edits. I think it's going to be a complete mess. The reshoots, there were so many of them, and this movie almost didn't come out and almost went to streaming services. There must be a reason for it. So even if the new trailer looks good, I'm still not looking forward to it. I Still Believe is a movie with Britt Robertson, and it's a Christian movie about a Christian singer. It's just not something that I think looks good. It looks really preachy to me, and it looks like it's a Lifetime original movie or something like that, so I'm not looking forward to it. My Spy has gone through so many pushbacks, and even back when it was supposed to come out on August 9th, I believe. No, August 23rd, 2019 was its original release date. Then it moved to January 10th, and now it's finding someplace around April. They're pushing this movie further and further back because I think they're still trying to make it look good, and it just doesn't. Trolls World Tour looks terrible to me. It looks even worse than the original one, and I hated the first Trolls. And this one is coming 4 years later. None of the kids who liked the first Trolls are still going to be young enough to enjoy it. And it looks completely obnoxious from the trailers. Minions 2, The Rise of Gru. My faith in this series died a long time ago, and honestly, after Despicable Me 3, it seemed like it was completely dead. This one's coming 3 years later, and it'll still make tons of money, I'm sure. It just feels weird to me. It feels like everybody's over Minions already. Ghostbusters Afterlife wouldn't be on this list, but the trailer looked horrible to me. A lot of people actually liked the way that it looked, but I thought it was just a disaster, and I'm not looking forward to this at all. The Conjuring 3 and a super long after title that doesn't make any sense. I lost complete faith in the Conjuring franchise after Annabelle Creation was bad, and the third Annabelle movie, it was okay, but just okay, and that one being the best one out of all the ones recently. Also, The Curse of La Llorona. The Conjuring franchise has just been on a decline, so this third installment, I'm not looking forward to at all. And my last one is Halloween Kills. I learned my lesson. I got super excited for the new Halloween movie. I thought it was going to be different than the other ones. It was just as bad as all the other sequels, so this one is on my least anticipated list. Alright, now we are going to move on to my most anticipated. I didn't really rank these. I didn't rank my least anticipated either because I used to rank them, but ranking anticipation is just really difficult, and the ranking was always really loose anyway, so I will just go through them briefly like I did with my least anticipated. First on my most anticipated is a movie called The Lovebirds. It has Kumail Nanjiani in it, and it is another rom-com movie, and I hear Kumail Nanjiani and I hear rom-com and I'm instantly excited. The Big Sick is still a movie I think about from time to time, and a movie I love rewatching. It's so cute, it's so romantic, and it's so funny. It was just exactly what a modern day romantic comedy should be, so attach his name to a romantic comedy and I'm excited. No Time to Die is the new James Bond movie, and I haven't been this excited for a James Bond movie in a really long time. We also haven't had one in a really long time, but Spectre I wasn't as excited for. Skyfall I wasn't as excited for. This one looks really good to me though, and I'm excited to see the way that Daniel Craig is going to wrap up his long career playing James Bond. In the Heights looks really good to me. I'm not usually a big fan of movie musicals, but I've always thought that In the Heights would lend really well to the screen, and the first trailer was so exciting and so fun. I'm looking forward to this one. The Pixar movie Soul looks really good to me. I didn't put Onward on here because I'm kind of not super feeling the trailers to Onward or the marketing, but that first trailer to Soul looked really good for me. It was kind of stained by a really bad last clip towards the end of it, but I still think that the animation looks great, and I'm really excited to see what kind of story they're going to tell, because when there's a Pixar movie that doesn't reveal a whole lot of plot details about what the movie is about, and you're not really sure what it's about, that usually means it's a super creative idea, so I'm excited for Soul. Tenet is Christopher Nolan's next movie, and the first trailers have been a little weird, but I mean, this man's insane. He got $250 million to make this movie, which may make you freeze and say, what? $250 million in the middle of the summer for a random original Christopher Nolan movie? That's insane. But the Christopher Nolan part makes sense. He made Inception for tons of money, and it made back tons of money. His Dark Knight movies made way more than Batman movies should have made at that time. And even Dunkirk made so much money, and I'm sure Tenet is going to be another mind-bending experience from Christopher Nolan. Last Night in Soho is a movie I'm really looking forward to. I have watched all of Edgar Wright's movies, and I really like the way that this guy directs. Especially, I think that he's just getting better and better as he goes along, and I thought Baby Driver was fantastic. So I'm really looking forward to Last Night in Soho. Emma looks like an enjoyable, cute little Jane Austen comedy. It's probably not going to be anything super special, but I'm looking forward to it. Death on the Nile is an Agatha Christie adaptation to film, and I just love the murder mystery genre, and whenever a new one's coming out, I'm looking forward to it. Dune is possibly my most anticipated. I didn't rank these, but Dune probably is my number one. It's directed by Denis Villeneuve. It has Timothée Chalamet. It's a well-known sci-fi property. It's coming out in December. I'm really looking forward to this. I'm Thinking of Ending Things is a Charlie Kaufman Netflix original movie. I love Charlie Kaufman. I love Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind and Anomalisa, and I can't wait to see what he's going to do. And I think Netflix is a really good place for Charlie Kaufman, because Netflix oftentimes lets their creators make just the most creative, bombastic movies. And I think if Charlie Kaufman is given total freedom, I can't wait to see what the result is. Nightmare Alley is a Guillermo del Toro movie, and attach his name to anything and I'm excited, but this is based on some folklore horror stuff, and just the fact that he's making a straight up horror movie, it's obviously something I'm going to be looking forward to. There's an untitled Paul Thomas Anderson project coming out, but just the fact that one, it's Paul Thomas Anderson, and two, it's a coming of age movie set in the 70s, both of those things just sound really appealing to me, so I'm looking forward to this. The French Dispatch is a Timothée Chalamet movie directed by Wes Anderson, and those two just seem like a perfect dynamic duo. I cannot wait to see this. The Trial of the Chicago 7 is an Aaron Sorkin directed and written movie, and I love Aaron Sorkin's scripts. Every single year they astound me with how well they're written. Steve Jobs. And Molly's Game was his first directorial debut, I believe. And I thought it was directed well. I actually really liked Molly's Game, and I thought that the reviews should have been a lot better because I really, really did enjoy it. So I can't wait to see what he's going to do with Trial on the Chicago 7. I think he'll hone his directing skills even more. And the story itself is very interesting. And my last one, funny enough, is called The Last Duel. It is a Ridley Scott movie with Matt Damon and Adam Driver. I love both of those actors. Those are possibly two of my favorite actors just to go to the movie theater and see in a movie. Adam Driver just has so much screen presence, and Matt Damon is also just so much charisma. The two of them bouncing off of each other in a Ridley Scott setting sounds interesting to me. Alright, those are my least and most anticipated movies of 2020. So, what movies are you looking forward to or not looking forward to in 2020? Comment in the comment section below and let me know. I'm Robert Burke, and this has been The Clever Critics. Goodbye.